Hello, and a truly magnificent day to each and every one of our wonderful friends joining us from wherever you are in this beautiful world. What a gift it is to slow down together, to breathe together, and to open up this warm, peaceful space where your voice truly matters.
Anna, I have to tell you something before we go any further today. Something that happened to me just this past week, and it was honestly a little embarrassing.
Oh, tell us, Abel, what happened?
Okay, so picture this. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I walked into a small community event. There were maybe 15 or 20 people there, professionals, teachers, community workers, a few people I had never seen before in my life. And we were all sitting in a circle, right? Getting to know each other.
That sounds like a lovely setting, actually.
It sounds lovely, yes, but then the host of the event, this very confident woman sitting at the front, she smiled at me and she said those 5 simple words. She said, "Abel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?"
Oh.
And Anna, I froze. I completely and totally froze. My mind just went blank, like someone had switched off every light in a room. I could feel my heart beating faster. My hands got a little warm. And you know what came out of my mouth?
What did you say?
I said, my name is Abel. I work and I like things. That was it. That was my entire answer. I work and I like things.
Oh, Abel, that is so incredibly relatable. And I promise you, every single person listening right now has felt that exact same feeling at least once in their life.
It was such a strange feeling because I know who I am, I know my own story, but in that moment, the words just refused to come out. It was like I had the story inside me, but I had no key to open the door.
And that, my friend, is exactly why we are here today.
Exactly.
That feeling of freezing up in front of others hits so close to home, Abel. Welcome to Mr. English Fluent Tutor, everyone. I am Anna.
And I am Abel. We are your 2 English friends, right here to show you how to share your life journey without feeling shy, awkward, or lost for words.
And today, this entire episode is dedicated to one beautiful, life-changing skill, talking about yourself with confidence in real life, in real conversations, at work, at school, in social settings, on video calls, in interviews, anywhere.
We are going to go slow today, nice and slow, because this is not a race. This is a journey.
And before we dive in, if you are watching this on YouTube, please take just 1 second right now to click the like button. It helps more people like you find these calm, friendly lessons.
And if you are not yet subscribed to Mr. English Fluent Tutor, please subscribe right now. We put so much care and love into every single episode, and we would absolutely love to have you as a permanent member of this growing family.
Share this video with a friend who also wants to speak better English, because sharing is such a kind and generous act.
And in today's episode, we are going to break down exactly why talking about yourself feels so hard. We're going to explore 2 very powerful analogies that are going to change the way you see yourself. We're going to do a beautiful vocabulary tour. We're going to upgrade your sentences in the Say It Better segment. And we're going to close with something warm for your heart.
That is a beautiful road ahead of us, so let us go.
Let us go!
Abel, let me ask you this. When you were sitting in that circle and those words would not come out, what do you think was actually happening inside your mind?
That is such a good question. I think, honestly, I wasn't prepared. Not because I didn't know myself, but because I had never actually practiced putting myself into words. Does that make sense?
It makes complete and total sense. And I want to say something that might surprise some of our listeners today. Talking about yourself is actually a skill. It's not something that just naturally comes to everyone. It's something you learn. It's something you practice. It's something you build over time.
Yes, and when you're also learning English at the same time, it feels like double pressure, right? You're trying to find the right words in a language that's not your first language, while also trying to manage the emotions of being in a social situation.
Double pressure. That's such an honest and accurate way to describe it.
I've met so many people, really intelligent, beautiful, warm people, who stay completely quiet in social settings, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're afraid their English is not good enough.
And that breaks my heart a little every time I hear it, because your story deserves to be told. Your personality deserves to be seen. Your experiences, your background, your dreams, all of that is worth sharing.
Absolutely. And I want to share something with you, Anna, and with everyone listening. I grew up in a household where storytelling was everything. My grandmother, she used to sit with us on Sunday evenings and tell us stories about our family, about where we came from, about challenges she faced when she was young. And she never had a university degree. She never had a big title, but when she talked, everyone listened.
That is a beautiful picture, Abel.
And I often think about her when I am struggling to talk about myself. She taught me that your story does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be real.
Real is always more powerful than perfect. Always. And that connects so naturally to the first analogy we want to explore with you today.
Yes, the business card analogy.
So imagine for a moment that you walk into a networking event. Someone hands you a business card, a plain, flat, plastic card. And on that card, there are exactly two pieces of information, your name and your job title. That is it, nothing else.
Just a name and a job title.
Now, is that card useful? In a very basic sense, yes. But does it tell you anything about the person? Does it make you want to know more about them? Does it create a connection?
Not really, it's just information. Cold information.
Exactly. Cold information. And so many of us, when we are asked to talk about ourselves, especially in English, we become that business card. We say, my name is this, I am from this country, I do this job. Full stop, end of story.
And people nod politely, and then the conversation just kind of fades away. I've experienced that so many times.
But here's the thing. You are not a business card. You are a whole book, a rich, layered, fascinating book full of chapters. You have a background. You have experiences. You have passions. You have things that make you laugh, things that keep you up at night, dreams you're working toward.
And sharing even one or two of those chapters makes such a massive difference in how people experience you.
It transforms the conversation entirely. Now, let's talk about the word background for a moment, because it's going to come up a lot today.
Yes, background, such an important word.
When we say background in English, we mean the personal history and experiences that have shaped who you are, your family story, where you grew up, what you studied, what your early life looked like. These are all part of your background.
For example, I might say, I come from a background in teaching, and growing up, my family always valued education deeply. That gives people so much more to connect with than just saying, I'm a teacher.
It paints a picture, and that's what great self-expression does. It paints a picture that other people can see and feel.
I love that, painting a picture with words.
Now, Abel, there's something else connected to this, something called background details. And this is a smaller phrase, but a very powerful one.
Yes, background details are the small, specific pieces of information that give your story texture. They are the little things that make your story feel human and relatable.
For instance, instead of saying, I grew up in a small town, you could add a background detail and say, I grew up in a small coastal town where everybody knew each other's names and the smell of the sea was always in the air. Now, suddenly, people feel like they are there with you.
It's the difference between a photograph and a movie. The background details bring movement and life to your story.
I love that comparison, Abel.
Can I share something a little vulnerable here?
Please, always.
For a long time, I did not share background details about myself because I was afraid people would think my background was not interesting enough. I thought, who wants to hear about a boy from a small town who grew up with very little money? I thought my story was too simple.
And how do you feel about that now?
I feel the complete opposite now. I think the simpler the background sometimes, the more powerful the story. because so many people in this world have come from humble beginnings. And when you share that honestly, people feel seen. They feel, oh, that's me too.
That's such a beautiful and true observation. Our backgrounds, no matter how simple they seem to us, are always meaningful to someone else. And this connects naturally to our second analogy, the closed window.
Oh, I love this one.
Imagine you're walking down a quiet street on a sunny afternoon. You pass a house, and the windows of that house are covered. The curtains are heavy and dusty, the glass is fogged. You can't see inside at all.
You walk right past it.
You walk right past it because there's nothing visible to invite you in. Nothing that says, come closer. There's something worth seeing in here.
But now imagine the house right next door. The windows are clean and open. There are flowers on the windowsill. You can see a warm light glowing inside. You can see bookshelves and cozy furniture, and you think, I wonder who lives there. I would love to meet them.
And that second house, friends, is what it looks like when you open up and share a little bit of who you are. People are naturally drawn to warmth. They're naturally drawn to openness. But when we hide behind short, careful, guarded answers, we become the house with the closed window.
And so many English learners do this not because they are closed people, but because they are afraid of making grammar mistakes, afraid of mispronouncing a word, afraid that their accent will make people judge them.
And that fear is so understandable. I want to say that very clearly. The fear is completely understandable, but I also want to challenge it gently, because the truth is, most people are not listening for your mistakes. They're listening for your meaning. They're listening for connection.
That is so important. People remember how you made them feel, not whether your verb tenses were perfect.
And your accent, by the way, is part of your story. Your accent carries your background, it carries your culture, it carries your journey. It is not something to hide, it is something to wear with pride.
When I first started speaking more openly in English, I used to apologize for my accent constantly. I would say, sorry, my English is not very good, almost every time I open my mouth.
Many people do that, almost as a protective shield.
Exactly. But then a mentor of mine said something that completely shifted my thinking. She said, Abel, every time you apologize for your voice before you even speak, you are teaching the other person to undervalue what you are about to say. Stop apologizing, start sharing.
Stop apologizing, start sharing. I want every single person listening to hold on to that today.
It was genuinely a turning point for me.
And this connects directly to something called self-esteem. Let us take a gentle moment to talk about that word, because it is so central to everything we are discussing.
Self-esteem. Say it slowly. Self-esteem. Two parts. The self, meaning you, your sense of who you are, and esteem, meaning respect, value, the worth you place on something. So self-esteem is basically the value and respect you have for yourself.
When your self-esteem is healthy, you feel comfortable enough to share your story. You feel that what you have to say has value. You feel that you deserve to take up space in a conversation.
And when self-esteem is low, which can happen to anyone, especially in new or challenging environments, you might shrink. You might answer questions with the smallest possible amount of information. You might avoid eye contact. You might say, I'm just a simple person, as though simplicity were something to be ashamed of.
But building self-esteem when it comes to English speaking is something you can practice. It does not happen overnight, but every single conversation you have, every time you open up, every time you try, your self-esteem grows a little bit more.
It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
And sharing your passion, those things that deeply excite you, that is one of the fastest ways to build conversational confidence.
Passion. That's our next key word today. Passion. Let's sit with that one for a moment.
Passion is a strong feeling of enthusiasm and love for something. It's more than just a hobby. It's something that lights you up from the inside, something you could talk about for hours without getting tired.
For example, someone might say, my passion is cooking, not just making food, but experimenting with new recipes, learning about different cultures through their cuisine, and feeding people I love. When you hear someone talk like that, you feel their energy immediately.
You absolutely do, and it creates a genuine moment of connection. Now, Abel, I want to ask you something. When you think about your own passion, the thing that truly lights you up, what is it?
Honestly, language. Language itself. The way words carry meaning. The way a single sentence can comfort someone or inspire someone or change the direction of their whole day. I find that completely extraordinary.
And look at how naturally you just talked about that. Did you notice how your pace changed, how your voice opened up a little?
You know what? I did not notice it while I was speaking, but yes, I can feel the difference.
That's what passion does to our speech. It removes the anxiety and replaces it with energy. And that's exactly what we want our listeners to tap into when they're talking about themselves.
Find your passion. Start there. Because when you speak from a place of genuine enthusiasm, people feel it, and language mistakes become almost invisible in the warmth of that energy.
Beautifully said. Now, there's one more concept I want to touch on before we move into our word tour, and that's the idea of things that pass, specifically the phrase pass down.
Yes, this is such a rich and useful phrase.
When something is passed down, it means it's given from one generation to the next, from older family members to younger ones. Traditions, values, skills, stories, these are all things that can be passed down.
For example, I might say, my love for storytelling was passed down to me by my grandmother. She passed down not just the stories, but the belief that every person's life is worth sharing.
And this kind of language, this kind of personal, layered expression is exactly what transforms a basic self-introduction into a real, memorable conversation.
And it's not complicated. You don't need to use difficult grammar. You just need to connect what you know to your real life.
Which is exactly what we are going to practice in our word tour right now.
Our calm word tour section. This is one of my favorite parts of every episode.
Mine too. We are going to go through 6 important vocabulary items from today's conversation. One of us will give the simple definition, and the other will give a fresh, everyday example sentence. Nice and slow, no rush.
Ready?
Ready. Word number 1, personality.
Personality is the collection of qualities, behaviors, emotions, and ways of thinking that make you who you are. It is the overall pattern of how you engage with the world and the people around you.
And here is an example sentence. She has such a warm and generous personality that every room she walks into feels a little brighter the moment she arrives.
Beautiful. Word number 2, freeze up.
To freeze up means to suddenly stop being able to speak or act normally because of fear, nervousness, or anxiety. Your body and mind seem to stop working together for a moment.
Like what happened to me at that community event. And here's a practical sentence. Every time the teacher asked me a question in class, I would freeze up completely, even when I actually knew the answer.
We have all been there. Word number 3, background.
Background is the personal history that has shaped who you are. It includes where you grew up, your family history, your culture, your education, and the early experiences that formed your values and perspective.
And an example. Although he grew up in very difficult circumstances, his background gave him a deep understanding of resilience and the importance of community that he carries with him every single day.
That is a rich example. Word number 4, background details.
Background details are the small but specific pieces of information that add depth and texture to your story. They're the parts that make your experience feel personal and real, rather than general and distant.
Perfect. And an example sentence. When she described her childhood mornings, waking up to the sound of her mother singing in the kitchen and the smell of fresh bread, those small background details made the whole story come alive.
Word number 5, passion.
Passion is a deep, strong, and often joyful enthusiasm for a particular activity, subject, or cause. It's more than just something you enjoy. It's something that genuinely moves and motivates you on a regular basis.
And here's the sentence. Ever since she was 8 years old, her passion for drawing has never faded. Even now, she fills sketchbooks with new ideas every single week.
Word number 6, self-esteem.
Self-esteem is the overall sense of value, respect, and confidence you have in yourself. It's how you see your own worth as a person and affects how comfortable you are in expressing yourself to others.
And a real-life example sentence, working on his English every day for 6 months slowly rebuilt his self-esteem, and by the end of the year, he could walk into any room and introduce himself without hesitation.
That is a journey worth celebrating.
Absolutely. And friends, if you want to go back and review those 6 words again, please do that. Rewind, listen again. That is one of the most powerful learning habits you can develop.
And now we are moving into one of the most practical segments of today's episode, the Say It Better segment.
I love this part so much because it takes the real sentences that English learners use every day and shows how to express the same idea in a way that sounds more natural, more fluent, and more memorable.
And we want to be very clear about something before we start. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the basic sentences. They're clear, they communicate meaning. But if you want to express yourself with more confidence and more color, these upgrades will help you enormously.
Let's start with the first one. Basic sentence, my name is Abel and I have a normal job.
This is a perfectly understandable sentence. Your name, your job, done. But let's make it richer. The upgraded version, I work in the field of education and I am deeply invested in helping others grow.
Now listen to the difference. I have a normal job tells people almost nothing interesting, but I work in the field of education and I'm deeply invested in helping others grow tells people what you do, yes, but more importantly, it tells them why you do it, and the why is always more interesting than the what.
The phrase deeply invested is a beautiful one. It means you genuinely care. You've put real energy and commitment to something. It goes far beyond just showing up to work every day.
Use that phrase, I'm deeply invested in, and then add whatever matters to you. It works in so many situations.
The second basic sentence, I'm shy when I speak to new people.
Again, completely honest and clear, but here's how we upgrade it. It takes me a little bit of time to step out of my shell in social settings.
Oh, step out of your shell. This is such a wonderful expression. To step out of your shell means to move beyond your natural shyness or quietness and start to open up and participate more freely.
A shell is protective, right? Like a turtle or a snail. They pull inside their shell when they feel unsafe or overwhelmed. But when they feel comfortable, they slowly come out.
And describing yourself this way is so much warmer and more human than simply saying, I'm shy. It also communicates that you'll eventually open up, which is reassuring for the other person.
And it's honest, because most shy people do eventually open up. They just need a little more time and the right environment.
Sentence number 3. Basic, I like reading books in my free time.
And the upgrade, I love to lose myself in literature whenever I get a quiet evening.
Lose myself in literature. Take a moment to appreciate those 4 words. When you lose yourself in something, it means you become so absorbed in it that you forget about everything else around you. Time passes without you noticing. The world outside disappears for a little while.
And instead of just saying books, using the word literature gives the sentence a slightly elevated, thoughtful quality. It suggests that reading is not just a casual pastime for you, but something meaningful and enriching.
And eyeing whenever I get a quiet evening tells people about your lifestyle. It paints a picture. You are someone who values peaceful moments and uses them for something nourishing.
All of that from one sentence. That is the power of choosing your words carefully.
Sentence number 4. Basic, I don't know what to say about me.
This is such a common one. And the upgrade, I often find it challenging to paint a complete picture of my journey on the spot.
Now, this is fascinating because the upgraded version is actually expressing the same truth. You're still saying that self-description is difficult for you, but the way it is framed sounds thoughtful rather than defeated.
On the spot is a great little phrase. It means without preparation, right at this moment, without time to think or plan. So you're saying in this exact moment, without warming, capturing my whole story is genuinely difficult. And that is not a weakness. That is an honest and intelligent observation.
And paint a complete picture of my journey. Notice the artistic language there. Paint, picture, journey. These words together suggest that your life is something complex and layered, something worth exploring, not just a simple list of facts.
Sentence number 5. Basic. I speak bad English, so I stay quiet.
This one makes my heart ache a little when I hear it, because it suggests that a person's entire voice is being silenced by fear. And the upgrade? I'm actively building my communication skills, so I sometimes prefer to listen and absorb.
The key word here is actively. Actively building. It's not passive, it's not waiting. It's intentional, consistent, daily effort. And that is something to be proud of, not ashamed of.
And listen and absorb is such a positive reframe. Instead of saying, I stay quiet because I'm afraid, you're saying, I choose to listen deeply because that is also how I learn. Listening is a skill, a beautiful and undervalued skill.
Great speakers are almost always great listeners first.
Always. Sentence number 6. Basic. I want people to think I'm smart.
And the upgrade, I naturally want to put my best foot forward when making a first impression.
Put my best foot forward. This is a classic English idiom. When you put your best foot forward, you make your best effort. You present yourself in the most positive and prepared way possible. You lead with your strengths.
And notice how the upgraded version removes the word smart. The basic sentence focused on wanting approval. The upgraded version focuses on intention and effort, and that is a subtle but powerful shift.
You're not desperate for people to think well of you. You are simply committed to showing up well. That is a very different energy, and people feel that difference.
That segment always gives me so much energy. I feel like I could take on any conversation after going through those sentences.
Me too. And I want to say something now as we move toward the close of today's episode, something that I genuinely want every single listener to hear.
Please share it.
Confidence in speaking about yourself is not something that arrives one morning when you wake up. It's not a switch that gets flipped. It's a gentle, gradual journey, and every step of that journey counts.
I think about where I was just a few years ago, freezing up in front of groups, apologizing for my accent before I even opened my mouth, giving one-word answers because I didn't trust myself to say more.
And where are you now?
I'm here, sitting across from you, talking to thousands of people around the world, sharing my story, my background, my passion, my experiences, not perfectly, but genuinely. And honestly, that feels like the most important kind of progress there is.
It absolutely is. And I want to share something personal as well. I wasn't always the warm, calm communicator you hear today. There was a time when I would prepare for every conversation like it was an exam. I would rehearse sentences in my head the night before. I was terrified of making mistakes in front of others.
Really?
Really. And what changed for me was the decision to stop treating conversation as a performance and start treating it as a connection. Once I stopped trying to perform and started simply trying to connect, everything became lighter. My self-esteem grew, my vocabulary expanded naturally through real use, and I started to actually enjoy talking about myself.
Because your story is worth enjoying. That's what I'm hearing in that.
Exactly. Your story is worth enjoying, and other people want to enjoy it with you. You just have to let them in. Open the window. Show them the beautiful room inside.
I love that we came back to the window analogy.
It felt right.
And speaking of connection, we have a very special moment now that we want to share with our community close.
Yes, to every single person listening to this right now, no matter where you are in your English journey, no matter how many times you've frozen up, stumbled over a sentence, or felt like your voice wasn't worth hearing, I want you to know something with absolute certainty.
You are exactly where you need to be. You are learning, you're growing, and that is not nothing. That is everything.
The fact that you pressed play today, that you showed up for yourself, that you gave yourself this time to grow, that is already a victory. Please do not minimize that.
And here's what I want you to think about now, friends. You have learned so much in this one episode. You know what it means to freeze up and why it happens. You understand the difference between being a business card and being a living, breathing book full of chapters.
You know how to open the window and let people see the warmth inside you.
You've explored 6 powerful vocabulary words: personality, freeze up, background, background details, passion, and self-esteem.
You've upgraded 6 basic sentences into something far more natural and expressive, and you've done all of this without rushing, without pressure, just a calm, focused conversation between friends.
And now we have a very special moment now that we want to share with our community close.
Yes, to every single person listening to this right now, no matter where you are in your English journey, no matter how many times you've frozen up, stumbled over a sentence, or felt like your voice wasn't worth hearing, I want you to know something with absolute certainty.
You are exactly where you need to be. You are learning, you're growing, and that is not nothing. That is everything.
The fact that you pressed play today, that you showed up for yourself, that you gave yourself this time to grow, that is already a victory. Please do not minimize that.
And here's what I want you to think about now, friends. You have learned so much in this one episode. You know what it means to freeze up and why it happens. You understand the difference between being a business card and being a living, breathing book full of chapters.
You know how to open the window and let people see the warmth inside you.
And now we have a very special moment now that we want to share with our community close.
Yes, in the comment section below this video, I want you to answer one specific question using at least one word or phrase from today's word tour. And the question is, what is one thing you are genuinely passionate about in your daily life? Tell us in the comments using at least one word from today's word tour.
For example, you might write, "My passion is photography because it helps me capture background details of my everyday life that I never want to forget." Or, "I'm deeply invested in cooking because it was passed down to me by my mother and it connects me to my roots."
Whatever your answer is, it's the right answer because it's yours, and we read every single comment. We see every single one of you. We truly do.
Before we say goodbye, one final reminder. If this episode helped you today, if it gave you even one new phrase, one new idea, one small spark of confidence, please click the like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Mr. English Fluent Tutor if you haven't already.
Because we're going to keep showing up for you, episode after episode, word after word, story after story. We're here and we're not going anywhere.
And this community that we're building together, one comment, one conversation, one word at a time, it's something truly special, and you are part of it.
Until next time, live on purpose, keep learning, and be very kind to yourself.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. And one final thought before you go. Click the next video right now to keep your English progress going strong. Each lesson builds on the last one, and your future, more fluent self is already waiting for you on the other side of that screen. See you there.